Welcome back, Spiritual Warriors. It's John here. I just want to pop on and do a quick video, kind of following up yesterday's introduction video, just more about me and my journey and why I'm doing this. I am a spiritual warrior, but first and foremost, I'm also a dad. And that's my main inspiration. That's my greatest accomplishment, my greatest job, why I do what I do. With my spiritual healing, with my energy healing, with just guiding my children and hopefully connecting with like-minded individuals and being able to share those stories and share that kind of stuff that we remember being spiritual warriors for all these eons. And I remember past lifetimes with my twin flame and my kids, and this all resonates and is super important to me. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's funny, I just wanted to give you kind of like a background of what happened recently and why it finally kicked my butt to be like, yep, all right, I got to do this. I'm listening source. So I had to. And, I've been through a lot of things growing up. I was born being able to see beyond the veil. I'm a twin and a sign of a Gemini too. Plus I have twins, and it doesn't run on either side of our family. So that's an interesting thing. And they were born early too. And if they weren't born early, they would have been twins. They're actually Taurus, but it's just wild how it all plays out and the synchronicities. And I have so many synchronicities that I deal with every single day. I have deja vu every single day. I see synchronized numbers constantly. Just the typical stuff that, people talk about on a continual basis, but I see them to the point of like, hello, this is like constant, the universe knocking on my shoulder going, hey dude, you remember this? Bing, bing, bing. Like, hello, pay attention. And it's just funny how often I see it, to the point where I actually used to keep track of it, and I used to keep a log. But it got so ridiculous to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore, which is wild. But yeah, no, I've been on the spiritual journey for a long time. I've always been the black sheep of my family and anybody I knew. So things wouldn't resonate with me, and I didn't understand society. I didn't understand how people would react or do certain things just cause. I didn't understand certain music. I didn't understand certain events. I didn't understand political stuff, even though I got deep into all that stuff at one point, playing the guitar, and, I dove into politics for a little bit. I was raised more spiritual. We were like kind of like a loose Christian kind of thing. I didn't go to church. I didn't, learn about all that stuff until much later in life. But in my 20s, I deep dived into all sorts of religion. I started going to church. I wanted to find out, am I missing anything? I'm not going to knock anybody's religion, but it turns out for me and my journey that I wasn't. But there's so many awesome secret codes and keys and hidden meanings behind things. So that'll be other videos that we'll get into. But I was born being a twin, but always having these psychic abilities that never went away. So we're all born with this stuff, but it never went away from me. So I've been able to see beyond the veil. I've had these amazing angelic type experiences, and I've had some interesting demonic stuff. So we'll talk about that in other videos too. But there's so many things I want to talk about, like things I mentioned before, like crystals and time and past lifetimes and reincarnation and twin flames and energy and you name it. But I even want to go to esoteric topics that are fun. Like, what is this plane of existence we live on? What is the shape? Is there a firmament? Tartaria. I want to talk about the mud floods. I want to talk about all sorts of stuff, but I also want to do it open. I want to look at both sides of the equation and why people argue both sides. But I want to keep this nice. I don't want to have any arguments with anybody. I want people who really are interested and want to learn and can spitball ideas back and forth and really talk about it and really see as a community and as the spiritual warriors that we are, what we remember and why we're remembering so many things, like, this cyberpunk, and why that's so important for people. Is that a futuristic type thing? What about, steampunk? Like, why are people so looking back but remembering such different technology? And if you look at, again, Tartaria and the mud floods, and you look at the resets potentially, and we look at, the world fairs and stuff, especially before 1902 and things, it really gets you thinking. But anyway, so what happened recently and why I wanted to do this so bad is, I've been following people on Instagram and YouTube for years, like Ralph Smart, and many other influencers and people like that are in the community that I love. But I was in the hospital because I got bit by a tick, and I got Lyme. I grew up on 57 acres, and I used to pick 20 ticks off of me back in the 80s and 90s. So I'm in my mid-40s, and I finally get Lyme. It's like, this is crazy. Sitting outside of work, getting some sun, sitting on the curb. Go figure. Anyway, so I went into the hospital for that, and when they did scans and stuff, they also sort of thought and diagnosed me with MS. So still working through all that stuff. I don't fully buy into all that. I'm not good as a patient in that regard because I respect the doctors and I respect a lot of things, but then I take my health seriously and I take it into my own hands and I do what I need to do for myself. And I've done that, and I've come up with a regimen after months and months and months of research and trial and error and the supplements that I take and the organic lifestyle that I live. And I have conquered all that stuff and more, and I don't have the typical symptoms or anything that most people that deal with this stuff do. That being said, while I was in the hospital, this guy came in. I'll never forget him. He was a janitor, and he's sitting there just talking and singing and telling me how he's a recording artist and how he wants to do this and that and the other thing. He's so passionate. He was younger than me, probably late 20s, early 30s, and just really awesome kid. And I loved him. I loved every second of it. But you know, when somebody walks in and they're an earth angel, just like yourself, and you sit there and you're laughing because they're just talking a million miles a minute, and they're so energetic and so passionate about what they're talking about that you can't help but laugh and just get sucked into it. And I'm looking up at Source going, all right, I got you. I got the message. I heard you. So I need to do this. And I need to, jump in here and finally follow my passions, finally do all this stuff. And while I was in the hospital as well, and after seeing that guy, I started just going through different influencers on YouTube and stuff. And I stumbled upon accidentally, actually, or I shouldn't say accident because nothing in this universe is an accident. The happenstance of that was done on purpose, of course. But Spirit Nomad, her stuff was cool, and it really inspired me that I got to be like, you know what? It's time. I got to get on here and do this stuff finally. So that's one of the main reasons why I came on here to do this, was because of her stuff, actually. And yeah, so here I am. I'm going to be talking about all sorts of topics. I'm going to jump on when I can. I'm going to do inspirational little quotes and different things and just remind everybody that you're worth it and you're important and I love you. Don't give up. You're not going to either. We're here for a reason. We all agreed coming down at this time to incarnate at this moment in this iteration of this reality for a purpose. So let's not forget that, and let's take full advantage of that, and let's raise the vibration of everybody. And I love you all, and thank you again for stopping by. I'm one of those people that I think 3,000 miles per hour. So, and then randomly squirrel, and I'll come back to talking what I'm talking about. So I don't know how linear some of these videos are going to be, but we're going to do our best and we're going to have fun doing it. And I appreciate you all and love you all. And thanks again. And I will talk to you soon. Peace and love always.